More on that breaking story we told you about at the top of the hour. Score another one for the government. Winifred Jiau, a hedge fund expert networker, has been convicted of insider trading. Now, she is the fifth person to be convicted in this wide-ranging federal crackdown. Bloomberg's Patricia Hurtado has been covering the case. She joins us by phone from the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan. So, Patty, main difference here is she's not a hedge fund trader herself. She's the one using the expert network?
Yes. Basically, you can see the hedge fund guys are the tippees, the guys who are the recipients of the tips, the information, and she's the person passing the tips. So she's getting it from a public company.
And those companies, NVIDIA and Marvell Technology, those are the two that we know about. Right.
And basically the evidence was that she befriended two guys who worked at these two Santa Clara, California chip makers. And she befriended them. She had once worked at NVIDIA, and she used them to get information, which she then sold to the hedge fund managers.
And she worked for Primary Global Research. How does this tie back to the government's case against Rajaratnam and his conviction?
Well, the evidence showed that the probe of Winnie Jiau is sort of a spin-off of the Rajaratnam case, loosely. This probe had been going on for 3 years. There's other defendants who pled guilty in the expert networking case who have also tipped off Rajaratnam's co-defendants, people who were charged with the Galleon case. So while she's not a Galleon employee and she wasn't tipping off Galleon hedge fund managers, there were other recipients and other people in the food chain or in that stream of information getting the recipients of the tips that were tied to Galleon.
So how much of a precedent does this set? Because Jiau worked at one of the companies that she later got information on. I mean, how much of a precedent does it set in terms of the time, the length of time between when you leave that job to get the networking job? What do we know about how this will actually change how business is done?
Well, actually, the evidence showed that she may have been probably tipping the two hedge fund managers while she was at NVIDIA, although that wasn't part of the case. There was an email where she said same relationship as before, same setup as before. So Noah Freeman, who worked at SAC Capital, testified against her, and he pled guilty. And he said that there had been a pre-existing relationship and that they continued to use her when this other gentleman, Samir Barai, who started his own hedge fund, took her private with Primary Global and had an exclusive access to this inside information. So it sort of showed how there was kind of a very loose cutting back, or there was a lot of information was seeping out of the public companies from friends of hers. Obviously, the companies have taken action, and one of the gentlemen who pled guilty in the case, he has been fired from his job at NVIDIA.
Wow. Patricia, thank you, Patty, for giving us that insight and explaining this, as we said, fifth conviction, third trial in the government's probe of insider trading, largest crackdown on insider trading at hedge funds that this country has ever undergone.